Hey everyone! Okay, so this is going to be a breastfeeding update. I just posted an update yesterday or the day before on Ewan, letting you know how he's doing. He's now 5 months, just over 5 months, and you know, giving you finally an update on how he's doing. In that video I kind of just said vaguely that yes, we're still breastfeeding, but that I do a separate video to let you know how that's going. So that's basically this video. And I'm going to do a little bit of a disclaimer here at the beginning of this video. For those of you who are watching, there is going to be a lot of TMI talk about nipples and breastfeeding in general. So if you're not into like hearing about my nipples or breastfeeding, then you absolutely don't want to be watching this video. This is for people who, you know, care to know how breastfeeding is going. And to be honest, we're having a rough go of it, so it's going to be a little bit TMI, so just a warning before I get started. So yeah, just to like dive right in so this isn't super long, we are absolutely still struggling with breastfeeding at almost 5.5 months, which is really kind of disheartening. In my last video, my last breastfeeding update video, I let you know that, you know, for the first while we were dealing with thrush. And while we no longer have thrush, and we haven't had it since we cleared it up at like the 3-month mark, yes, we had thrush for that long. If you're curious to know how the first like 12 weeks of breastfeeding was going, I'll link that video right here to let you know how breastfeeding was going in the early days. But since that video we haven't had thrush, we got it cleared up. But what we are dealing with is the fact that Ewan is a horrible breastfeeder. There's just no other way to put it. He's just a horrible breastfeeder. It's not really him, I know that. It's me as well. I'm not really helping him breastfeed the way that he should. And basically, he's a lazy latcher. He has a shallow latch every time, and I don't know how to get him to stop doing that. And so basically, I'm sore all the time, and I still get cuts on my nipples regularly. I have cuts on my nipples more often than I don't. I still bleed from them, and it's so disheartening when I bleed because not only does, you know, he ingest my blood, and then when he poops, the poops are black, he also is a spitter. He spits up a lot, which I talked about in my 5-month update video. But because he's ingesting my blood and he throws up a lot, he's throwing up my blood. And although I know it's not his blood, it's my blood, it's still just heartbreaking to see. You don't want to see your kid throwing up blood, even if it is not theirs. So yeah, we've definitely been having a rough go of it. And because he's not latching properly, I think that is kind of what's affecting his growth. In my 5-month update video, I kind of talked about Ewan's growth and how he is a slow grower. And since I filmed that video, I actually went to see someone who, she's not a lactation consultant, but she's a nurse practitioner who also kind of took the breastfeeding course or whatever, and she's able to help people, help women with breastfeeding. So I saw her actually just today, and we talked about, you know, how the fact that he's not latching, the fact that he's not growing at the rate that he should be growing, is probably contributing to my milk and its quality. Because he's latching more on the nipple, I mean, he's getting a little bit more than just a nipple, but not much. Because he's shallow, I'm producing a lot more foremilk. And so he's not getting enough of the hind milk that's more fatty, has more calories, it's thicker. He's not getting as much of that as he should be. So basically, her advice to me today, which was kind of like, well, I know, her advice was basically, don't let him latch incorrectly. Just, he gets on shallow, pop him off. He's on shallow, pop him off. If I have to take him off 100 times in a feed, it doesn't matter. Shallow latch, pop him off. And up until today, I've actually been feeding him on one breast at one feed and then another breast at another feed, and alternating that way. And originally it started because, like I mentioned in my last breastfeeding update video, we had thrush and it was extremely painful, and so I would need to have like a break. If I was feeding him off of that breast, either breast, every single feed, that was just way too much for me, and so I needed to alternate breasts so that I could have a break. And also, my logic was, if I want him to be getting more hind milk, I should feed him off of one breast at each feed. You know, one feed, one feed, one feed, one feed kind of thing. Because why would I put him on and give him foremilk and not very much hind milk, take him off, put him on the other side and give him more foremilk when, yeah, that was my logic. But the nurse today she kind of explained it in the way that when you let down on both breasts. So when you start on this breast, you know, he's getting foremilk and then hind milk, but as he's feeding on this breast, the foremilk and the hind milk are sort of like mixing together, is how she explained it. Any of you who are, you know, advocates in breastfeeding or know what you're talking about, you know, you can let me know if that's kind of true down below. But that's kind of how she explained it, and so she recommended that I start feeding him on both breasts. 5 to 10 minutes on one breast, 5 to 10 minutes on one breast, and then switching him over to the other side. So that way he's actually getting more hind milk instead of less, how I figured it. I really hope I explained that well. Kind of seemed like a mishmash in my head. But yeah, so, because we're trying to get him to grow, because he's not growing because he spits a lot and because he's getting a lot of foremilk, so we're trying to increase his calorie intake and I'm just really not wanting to go to formula. And I don't want to get a lot of flack from people telling me like, it's okay if you want formula, you know, I formula fed my babies and they're fine. I am not against formula in any way. Like, it's not about putting something artificial in my baby or the fact that I think my baby will be smarter because he's breastfed. I don't think that. For me, it's about the bond of breastfeeding. It's a very personal... I'm gonna get upset. I'm gonna try not to get upset. It's a very personal thing, and I don't want... It's the one thing that I do. I know I do more than I don't just breastfeed him. And he definitely loves his mommy. But the connection of breastfeeding for me is the reason why I want to continue to breastfeed. It's not about the quality of nutrition in my eyes. So that's why I don't want to introduce formula. Because I don't want to introduce formula and start supplementing with formula and then my supply suffers and then I'll have to give up breastfeeding before I want to give up breastfeeding. Or wean him, or he weans himself. I don't want to have to stop because I don't have enough milk, I guess is my point. So yes, we're doing all of these things now to kind of get the quality of my milk back to where it should be, because in the beginning when he was a newborn, up until he was about 2 months or 3 months, he was growing superbly and my milk quality was great. When I would pump, I would have a little bit of the thinner looking milk, but then the thicker white milk would start coming up, you know, relatively soon. But now when I pump, it's thinner for longer before the white thicker milk starts coming out. I don't pump very often, but when I do pump, I notice that. So we're doing these things to try and get my milk quality better, so that, and my supply better. Right now I'm taking fenugreek again. I took it a little while ago, a long time ago, probably around the 2 or 3 month mark, to increase my supply a little bit because he was going through a growth spurt and I just wasn't making enough and he was hungry. So I took fenugreek and I had some success with it, and I've started taking it just a couple of days ago now to increase my supply so that he's getting more milk. And see, one thing, because we're having these growth issues with him, we've been seeing a pediatrician instead of just my regular doctor, so that we can get like a special opinion on his growth, someone who's just specialized in pediatrics rather than just a physician, like my family physician. So my family physician encouraged me in the beginning to feed him often because, you know, he knows when he's hungry, and he knows when he's full, and he will not eat when he's full. So you're not going to overfeed him, because we were thinking that maybe he's getting too much milk, and that's why he's spitting up so much, because he's taking in too much. And she said no, that's not the case. But then we went to the pediatrician. She encouraged me to space out the feedings as much as I can, you know, every 3 hours, and try not to before the 3-hour mark, and to not feed him longer than, you know, 15-20 minutes, because anything more than that, you know, and he's getting too much. Like, babies won't stop. They'll just feed and feed and feed, and then they'll throw up. So it's like completely contradicting points of view. So I was trying to space him out with feedings, and because that's what the pediatrician said. But then today again, the nurse said, no, if he's hungry, feed him, you know, but don't let him pacify himself on you, you know. If he just wants to go to the breast to comfort, because you are sore and cut and you're trying to heal, don't let him pacify on you. But yeah, if he wants to go to the breast and eat, absolutely. Put him to the breast and let him eat, especially since we're having growth issues. You know, we want him to eat. Sorry, we got some snow going on right now and the salt truck is just going by. Anyways, we want him to eat as often, or as much rather, as possible, so that he's gaining weight. She says, and even if it means he spits up a little bit more, let's say he takes in 3 extra ounces over the course of the day, and he spits up an ounce extra over the course of a day, he's still getting 2 extra ounces, which makes sense to me. So I'm going to go back to that philosophy of just feeding him whenever he wants. But if he just wants to go on the boob just to pacify, I'm not going to let him do that just because I'm sore and I kind of need to heal myself. What else? I'm just trying to think. I don't think there's really anything else to update on. Basically, we're still having a hard time. And I'm really upset at the fact that we could, if I don't get my supply up and my quality of milk up, then we might have to start supplementing. We've actually, we have introduced rice cereal early. He's 5.5 months now. We would have been introducing rice cereal at 6 months anyways, and since we're having this growth issues, we actually just started rice cereal 2 days ago. And sorry, that's awfully loud. He doesn't hate it, he doesn't love it really. I mean, he's not taking very much. I'm just giving it to him once a day at supper time. She said not to give him any more than a tablespoon, and he doesn't eat a whole tablespoon. He's eating like a teaspoon. And what my doctor suggested that I do is feed him on the breast first and let him fill up on breast milk. And then once a day, starting once a day and then twice a day, and just that's enough, twice a day for now. Then after you feed him on the breast, give him a little bit of rice cereal in a bowl, with a spoon, just to top him off a little bit, to see if we can get some extra calories in. And so I did start doing that, which I didn't want to, because I really wanted to wait till the 6 month mark before I started introducing anything like that. But I figure he's so close to the 6 month mark, and at this point, I'm more concerned about him gaining weight. He lost weight, like he's losing weight a little bit. So I think at his 4 month needles, he was, see, it's kind of hard for me to remember weights and stuff because the pediatrician weighs him, and the last time we went on December 13th he was 13 pounds and 7 ounces. But at my doctor's office, when he was 4 months, for his 4-month needles, he weighed 13 pounds. And when we just went the other day at 5 weeks, at 5 months and a week or a couple of days, he weighed 12 pounds, 15.5 ounces. So he actually lost a half an ounce in a month. So because of that, that was kind of concerning. So that's why I decided it was, you know, I know you're supposed to wait until 6 months, but because he had lost, I agreed to start the rice cereal sooner and see what that does. And since it's not very much that I'm introducing, and it's just once a day for now, I said okay, even though I cried afterwards because I really didn't want to, but it's more about him right now and having him gain weight. So yes, that is it in a nutshell. I really can't think of anything else to update you on. Having a hard time sort of introducing solids once a day for now, and I think in a couple of days we'll move it to 2 times, at breakfast and at supper. Yeah, hopefully we can get the latch better. Please, 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 if you have any suggestions on ways to boost supply, ways to improve quality of milk, positions, like good positions to really get him to latch properly, how to help with cuts on nipples, how to help them heal better, anything besides lanolin, because I think lanolin is what made me continue to have thrush for so long, because I was using so much lanolin. I think it was like a barrier keeping the bacteria in my nipple and not allowing it to like heal and get out. So I just don't want to use lanolin anymore. I will take any other suggestions that you have besides lanolin for cuts on nipples. What else? Just really any advice or suggestions that you guys can offer. I am open to pretty much anything, except, like I said, except lanolin. But yeah, that's it for now. Questions, leave them below, or you can send me a private message. And yeah, that's it for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!